Hi everybody and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Friday the 20th of October. It's really nice to be with you. I'm using the Truth Seekers Tarot today, which is a beautiful deck, and it must have got kind of put to the bottom of the pile because I haven't used it in ages and ages, and it really is a beautiful deck. So I'm going to choose 3 cards here today to give you the message for the day. If this is the first one of my videos that you've watched, you're very, very welcome. I do this every day. I pull 3 cards, and what I do is I tune into the energy, and the cards kind of give you an insight into how to make the most of that energy and how to use the energy to your advantage so you can have the best day possible. And it's also not just about the day in itself, it's about spiritual progress, because we're all here to progress spiritually, and every day is like another step forward, and that's why it's important to look at what's going on. Okay, so 10 of Pentacles, 5 of Wands in reverse, the Hierophant in reverse. Wow, okay. So the 10 of Pentacles is the highest number of the suit of Pentacles. In the tarot, you have the major arcana, which are the first 21st cards, and then you have the minor arcana. And the minor arcana is split into 4 different suits: Pentacles, Wands, Swords, and Cups, and it's the elements. So Pentacles is earth, Wands is fire, Cups is water, and Swords is air. So Pentacles has to do with physical wealth, the physical world, belongings. It's interesting that in this deck, they've chosen, which I really like, they've chosen the 10 of Pentacles and they've put it into a church. You wouldn't think that the two are interlinked. The 10 of Pentacles is really about hitting the peak or being at the zenith of your financial powers, getting what it is you want, feeling secure in your life. And usually it's a gate card. In this deck, it's also a gate card. And the financial security or the lack of worry about things in your life. So I'm worried about my skin. I'm worried about the job. I'm worried about the girl at reception who was mean to me this morning. I'm worried about da-da-da-da-da. None of that is happening today. In terms of your physical existence, things seem calm. Things seem okay. There may be slight anxiety about money. If you're someone who worries about money all the time, that may still be there, but it's going to be reduced today. And because you have that sense of security and that sense of foundation in terms of your actual life, you can walk through this doorway and you can walk into the realm of spirit. I know it's represented as a church, and a lot of us who are involved in kind of the new age and spirituality, a lot of us have had a lot of bad experience with religion, which is why we've had to look elsewhere. And actually that's worked in our favor, because rather than staying at church and listening to a vicar tell us what's in the book, people who don't have access to places like that have to find a way of experiencing the higher power, experience something that is greater. Because whether you're in one of these institutions or not, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and whether those institutions want you or not is irrelevant. So you feel good about your life as it is, something opens up and you realize a truth about yourself, a spiritual truth. So something clicks. You either understand something about yourself, some sort of window opens in your mind, aha, oh my God. And the more we know about ourselves, the more light we can be. You know, if you know what you like, let's say you enjoy making cookies, or you like exercise, or you like binge watching things on Netflix. It's about knowing those things and actually being clear about what it is I like, that you can then, if you're in a bad situation, say, well, I can do this activity that makes me feel better. So this is about self-knowledge, it's about spiritual understanding, and it's about understanding yourself better than you ever have before. So, as I said at the beginning of the reading, I do these every day, but we're all on a spiritual journey for as long as we're alive, and we're all trying to get to the best place we can in this lifetime, and some of us come back and some of us don't, and it's all about moving forward, left foot, right foot. So today, a big eureka the light bulb goes on, you understand something fundamental about yourself. The next card is the Five of Wands in reverse. And it's really pretty in this deck. It almost looks like a wedding and a celebration. We've got birds flying towards the sun, a little bit too close to the sun. Looks a bit dangerous. But then we've got this canopy and it looks like a wedding almost. It looks like something that's really a stage where there's something to be celebrated. Usually, the Five of Wands is about trivial conflict. And in this deck, I suppose they have interpreted it as trivial amusements, trivial activities to pass the time, trivial things that distract us from doing what we're really doing. So instead of trying to understand what I'm supposed to do for work, instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the spa and then get really drunk and have a good time and talk to strangers and then stumble home. That's the way not to progress. That's the way to kind of stay in your little bubble and not move forward, and that would be trivial, okay? Thank goodness the card is in reverse, and because it's in reverse, there isn't anything trivial going on. You're not tempted to go out and just waste your time or to act out or to look at your feelings and to say, I can't deal with this, I'm going to do something to change. And it's something that's a celebration in a sense, because these wands are the element of fire. And fire has to do with life purpose and passion. And you can see the sun there, you can see all the red, you can see all the yellow. And these wands are kind of growing up now. They're kind of arising out of this canopy. So there isn't any conflict in your life today via other people. There isn't a distraction, the same as this. There aren't things that are constantly just on your mind, distracting you, asking you to do this and this and this. A lot of times we don't reflect very much. We're often very busy and we go through the day and then we have the next day and then we plan to make a move or get a dog or get ourselves into shape, and it's always living in the future and it's living ahead. We always strive towards something. Most people live through self-propulsion and they propel themselves through life. Think of it as like you're putting yourself in a catapult and you're slinging your way through life to try and get to where you want. And that is purely ego. That's purely, this is my story, I'm going to write it, I'm going to create the life that I want, which most of us do. But what's even better is if you put yourself in the catapult of your spiritual higher self. Because first of all, it's going to fling you much further and it's going to fling you in the right direction. So your passions, your true desires, the things that are healthy for you, the things that you enjoy, the things that don't cause conflict are going to become apparent. And there will be several things that you can enjoy on this day, and there will be several things that you discover about yourself, about your true purpose, about your true passions, about who you really are, what you like, what you care about, and who you are, If your dad always took you on his golfing trips because he loved golf, and you wanted to please your father, and you went along, and you now have a handicap of 8 as well, but you hate golf, then that is not living your true purpose. You're just pleasing your dad, and you're forming a relationship. But what is it that your passion is? Finally, we have the Hierophant, my favorite card, because I'm such a big fan of the Pope. Hierophant often, that was facetious, I'm not a fan of the Pope. The Hierophant represents the authority. Look at this man, he's bejeweled, golden, bedecked, because the thinking is that he has a direct line to God. And that's why these lords and ladies come to this man and say, oh, wonderful, wise one, please tell us what the higher power wants for us. Please instruct us, please tell us what we need to do. And unfortunately, the Hierophant does not have a direct line to God, or maybe he does, but he's got a direct line to the universe in the same way that we all do. He can connect with spirit, so can he, so can she, and so can he. They don't need to go to this guy and listen to his rules because unfortunately, this power, look at all that gold, tends to corrupt. And he will say things that he thinks are right. And he will say, this is what you should do, and this is what you shouldn't do. And that's his opinion. And what works for him may not work for you. So as far as I'm concerned, those restrictive rules, especially when it comes to your spiritual truth, your spiritual nature, who you are, screw the rules. You find out who you are. You have an experience of the universe, of a God of your understanding, and put aside all this rubbish and all this nonsense and all the rules and all the restrictions that you've been taught, and just tap into your own experience and don't look to others to give you a kind of sense of permission. It's in reverse. So not only are you walking through this gate into your spiritual truth because financially you feel settled, your passions and desires are organically growing out of you because there's no conflict, there are no distractions, and you are liberated from the restrictive, oppressive, and suppressive messages that you've received your whole life in terms of what you can and cannot do and what's right and what is not right. So you start to think completely for yourself today. You are your own unique, special creation today, and you start to understand who you are in truth. And you can understand yourself in a sense of, okay, what is it I like about myself? I like that I'm intelligent. I like that I am caring. I like that I'm empathetic. I like that I'm punctual and reliable. I like that it can go on and on in terms of physical attributes. But you can also like yourself in terms of your feeling. You can, instead of being in the head, you can go inside into your heart chakra, into your inner self, and you can say, how do I actually feel about myself? Without all those big words, because words are just a way of condensing something into something we can communicate, and language is restrictive. How do I feel about myself? And this is the day where you can really look at that and think of your inner self as a flower. Is it a tiny little daisy? Is it a glorious bouquet of roses? Yeah, use that analogy. The feeling of yourself, imagine that as a flower. Are you a tiny little daisy that's just trying to survive? Or are you a gorgeous orchid that's just radiant and glowing? And that's something you can feel, and that goes beyond words, and that goes beyond intelligence, and that is truth. It's one thing saying something, but it's another thing feeling it. And today you will feel who you are. And that is the most empowering thing that can ever happen to you. 10 and 5 is 15 and 5 is 20. 20 reduces to 2 in numerology, and 2 is about relationship. 1 and 2 is a relationship. It's the relationship with yourself, so you discover who you are today. Avoid things if there are things that, because the ego is always kind of on its, the ego is always kind of hanging around saying we don't want this person to succeed. So if there are any conflicts or things that are trying to distract you, really be clear and have very good boundaries in place. This is your day. This is no one else's day to demand anything of you or to get into an argument. This is a day of personal discovery. So I'm not telling you to isolate yourself, but I'm saying please do carve out some time for yourself, because this is a window of opportunity that doesn't open often. And when you walk through that window into this holy, sacred inner space of yourself, there's nothing more powerful on earth that you can do. When you reclaim and discover your own power, then the rest of the world is nothing, because the world is nothing compared to you. You're an infinite spiritual being. The world is finite. You're infinite. So, also, if you're someone who hates themselves, despises themselves, despite the fact that you've been in self-help for 20 years and you pray every day and you meditate, you can get to the core of what happened that made you think that about yourself. If you've forgotten that you were really abused by your mother as a child and that you felt humiliated, and that's why in your current relationships you end up with people who humiliate you, you will understand that pattern. And you don't need a shrink, you don't need a pope. All you need to do is listen to what's happening and it will organically bing into your head. So it's an amazingly powerful day, life-changing. If you'd like a private reading with me, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. In my readings, I use astrology, tarot, and numerology. I can look at the astrology charts as a blueprint of your soul. It shows me what your vocational aptitudes are, what your life purpose is, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And I can also look at what's coming up for you in future in terms of your love life, in terms of your career, health, family, friends, spirituality. And I can answer any questions that you may have. Living situation, will this relationship work out, anything at all. So if you'd like a reading with me, please visit the website, gregoryscott.com, and click on the readings tab to order your reading. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's free of charge, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.